Oh, glasses. I'm just going to do a very quick dish that I made up a very long time ago, and it involves these things: aubergines. I'm aware that lots of people in England don't really know what to do with an aubergine, and they are quite strange. I realise that they can be a bit peculiar, so I'm going to cook them one of the easiest ways I know how. It will also involve rather a lot of these. It's the last of the tomatoes from the garden, so those are going to get chopped, blended, and then poured over the top of the aubergines. You don't really need to see me chopping tomatoes or blending them, but I will show you the aubergines. So, back in a second. Aubergine, knife, aubergine. This is one of the easiest ways I have found to cook aubergines, and it's huge thanks to Ken Paniopoulos for this, who I will link to his YouTube channel because he's just brilliant and he's just one of the best cooks that I know. So, I have tomatoes. So just random tomatoes, and just get rid of those. Right. Cut off the end of said aubergine. Do not, if they're a bit bruised, it doesn't matter. It's fine. Cut into fairly thick slices. Yes, seeds. Ignore the seeds, not a problem. The serrated knife is actually useful because otherwise it slides off. So here you have the baking tray, and you do this. Yep. Random aubergine. Get the other one. Do the same thing. You don't have to be exact, you don't have to be precise. You probably shouldn't cut yourself. Then you just essentially chuck your aubergines all over the pan. And that's it, right? I will, however, cut a bit into that so that cooks through. If they overlap, doesn't matter, it's all fine. Then you get your olive oil, you see, and not loads, just enough to give them some flavour. And some salt. Now these are going to go into the oven, and what's going to happen is that as these cook, the steam from the aubergine will essentially cook itself through. So just cook them in the oven until they are limp and cooked through. You don't have to get them browned or anything like that, but you know, it's up to you. If you want them to be brown and a bit crispy, fine, go for that. But stick them in the oven, I would say probably on around 160°, and basically cook them until they give in. I'm going to do that now. I'm going to put these in the oven. I'm going to go and whiz up this beautiful bowl of garden bounty. Then I'll come back and show you what happens. Hello! The aubergines are out of the oven. I very nearly picked that tray up to show you. No. Right, here we go. They're just kind of floppy. That's all you want, really. You just want them to be pliable, and more or less cooked through. So what we're going to do now, she says, still there. Now what we're going to do, ta-da! Red onions, garlic. There is no real measurement for this. It's up to you, to be honest. I've got 1 red onion because I had 1 red onion. That's quite a lot of garlic because, you know, garlic. That just makes my life a lot easier. Now, olive oil. You'll get used to this. There's a lot of olive oil in my cookery. Yes, really, there is. Yes, I know it's a lot of olive oil. That's because it's a lot of olive oil. But olive oil is one of the best oils for you, and regardless of that, I love the flavour, and the flavour profile of the oil is part of what gives the depth to the aubergines and the tomatoes. So here we are. You need to cook those down. When they've started to fry, exciting things will go in. So you make the sauce in there, and then you layer up the aubergines with the sauce in a dish, and then you add cheese. Cheese, yes. And you can add in black olives if you want. You can add whatever you want, to be honest. Smoked sausage. Actually, that would be really nice. If you added smoked sausages in, that would be absolutely lovely. But this is a vegetarian dish, so I'm not going to be adding sausages to it today. I think that would be rude to suddenly change a vegetarian dish. Right, so those are going to fry. Oh, the onions and the olive oil and the garlic. It's just one of the best smells in the world. That's better. Oh look, we're back to mashing. You can't beat it really. If your onions are failing to behave, give them a good smash. Right. Oh, that smells so good. Right, I'm going to turn the heat down. Because what you don't want to do, you don't want to brown the garlic, because if you brown garlic too much, it gets really, it does get bitter, and there is a place for that. There is a place in quite a few dishes for very brown garlic. This is not it. So that just needs to simmer for a bit. I've thrown my spatula somewhere. Yeah, I do have this terrible habit of just chucking things in the sink and going, where did I put that? Get that bit of garlic apart and in the oil. Now while that's cooking, I'm going to go and get the tomatoes. Amuse yourselves. My own tomatoes. They will go in there in a minute. In fact, they might as well go in there now, because I can see the onions are starting to get a little bit of brown. So let's get that. And don't leave stuff behind. Cooking shows. We know you. We see you. This is why I love watching home cooks, because they're basically no. We're not leaving that behind. That's got to come out. That was my. Here we are back again. I wanted to show you this. If I get it the right way around. There we are. This is essentially Turkish feta cheese. I realise that feta is Greek and whatever, but you know, we all eat hummus, we all eat olive oil, we all eat cheese, so deal with it. This stuff, however, you can find this in Turkish grocers, and it comes with a lid. So there's your cheese, and once you're done using what you need, you can put the lid on and keep it in its own brine. It obviously doesn't keep forever, but it keeps longer than normal. So right, here we go. So you get your aubergines and you layer them up, overlap them a bit. Turn off the sauce because you've realised you're steaming your own face up. And get some of the sauce over the top. I've put some olives in there because I had the tail end of a jar of de-pipped, de-stoned, whatever. But yeah, I had the tail end of a jar of olives to use up. So you put the sauce over that layer of aubergine, and you try it and get the cheese out of the brine. Sometimes it's easier to just cut it in half and take a piece out. There we are. Piece of cheese. And then you just crumble the cheese over the aubergines. You don't have to put in quite as much as I do, but you can if you want. More aubergines. More sauce. I mean, what you want is basically you want the aubergines to cook in the sauce. So all of that there. You can put some more cheese in that layer if you want, but I'm not going to do that because I'm going to save it for the top. That's all of your aubergines in there. And the rest of the sauce. There we are, push that around a bit. Oof. Bring it there so you can see it. And more cheese. This is what I love about feta cheese, is that you can just break it around in your hand. Right, and basically that's it. You can add in what you want. You can add in bacon, I suppose. I'm going to put a bit of olive oil. Yes, I'm going to put some olive oil on the top. Because olive oil really is part of life in Greece. You're just not. You're just not without olive oil. It just doesn't happen. Bit more oregano for the top. And that is it. And you stick your oven on to 170 and you put your lid on. I would cook that, I would say I'd probably cook that for at least half an hour. Then I'll take the lid off and let the whole lot reduce down. If there's black bits around the edges, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Let's see if I can move you there. There we are. I mean, that smells fabulous the way it is anyway. But I'll see you in an hour. There you are. I just took that out of the oven. Obviously I'm not going to pick it up with my bare hands. But yeah, there we go. There is still lots of juice in there. You can see if I tip it, there's quite a lot of juice in there. So what you can do now is put it back in the oven without the lid on for a good half hour. Let the edges of the tomatoes get all jammy, which is exactly what I'm going to do. And I would say probably about after half an hour that will have reduced even further, and then you can get a loaf of bread and a large spoon, dig in and enjoy. And there we go. We have one pot of very, very hot and bubbly cheese and tomato aubergine bake. It is actually ridiculously hot, but it smells pretty damn fine.